Hello. Welcome. Thank you for joining us once again for this, the
72nd
episode of Drunk Doctor Who podcast, discussing the 72nd serial of Doctor Who. We're so glad that, to have you back.
Death to the Daleks.
Death to the Daleks.
Yep.
Ran from 1970 to 1974. That's a 4-year serial? That's a long serial.
No, let's have John Pertwee's 5 seasons. No, it went from February 23rd, 1974 to March 16th, 1974. It was 4 episodes. So one of his shorter serials. And it's not particularly good.
Last season we voted on was
season 8. Really?
Wait, no.
So we have to do 9 and 10 and then 11. Oh, okay.
I think so.
Okay, so we were talking about the end of this podcast doing our vote for the next season because we've kind of been remiss about it lately. And so we were figuring out what was the next season.
We'll figure out.
Apparently we've done just season 8. We have to do season 9. And this, we're currently in the season 11.
So we have to do 9 and 10.
And then 11.
We haven't finished 11 yet.
We'll be there by the time we're done. I need to update this. I have season 11 on Blu-ray now. Okay.
Oh.
Alright. So anyway, Death to the Daleks, 4 episodes. The only companion is Sarah Jane Smith. The antagonists, of course, are the Daleks. Real simple. So anyway, this might be a short episode. Okay.
Or a super, super long one. You can never tell.
Yeah, so...
Depends on how far off topic I get us.
Pretty much. Alright, so the Doctor and Sarah Jane are going to some place where the beaches are really nice. She's in a 2-piece swimsuit. Not quite a bikini, but a 2-piece. Shows a little midriff. Which I think is the most skin that we ever see on Sarah Jane. A nice traditional conservative British 2-piece swimsuit from the 60s or 70s. Anyway, the TARDIS crash lands, essentially. All of the energy is sucked out of the TARDIS. The main banks, the emergency banks, and then the backup banks. There's no batteries with any literally energy at all. Sarah Jane gets a flashlight, a torch, and it runs out. So then the Doctor ends up with an oil lantern.
Yeah, they go through the TARDIS power supply, the backup energy supply, then some reserve, then the torch,
yeah, and then
and then finally they resort to oil.
Oil, yeah, and like Sarah Jane says, good old-fashioned oil.
So for some reason, all energy sources are just being drained.
All electrical ones, not combustibles or
projectiles, cybernetic.
Right. So the Doctor
psychokinetic
and Sarah Jane go out onto the planet. There's a bunch of fog.
It's very cold, not the nice vacation world that he promised.
So they go out onto the planet and...
Again, the Doctor promises a companion a nice vacation world, throws them into mortal peril. Not a good look for the Doctor.
Wait till we get to midnight. Not the time.
We're about 20 minutes.
Yeah, we started late tonight. I have a friend in town and he wanted to do an escape room. And that's the first time we failed an escape room. It was really hard. Only has a 6% success rate.
Wow, that's really low.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Super low.
So we failed, but we started our Doctor Who tonight 2 hours late. Thank you again for accommodating me and my friend. Alright, so the Doctor and Sarah Jane go out onto the world. Sarah Jane realizes she's not dressed for it.
It's cold.
It's cold. So she goes back into the TARDIS. Oh, they had to dig out a hand crank to open the door.
First time we ever saw that. Yeah. Yep. Which is strange because in the past the TARDIS has gone out of power and they push the doors open or
Yeah.
He uses a screwdriver to open it or something. So this is the first time we see this really rudimentary crank to open the... Yeah, it's strange.
And he plugs it into a spot we never saw before in the TARDIS. Mm-hmm. And it looks like he's starting an old car from 100 years ago.
Right.
So she goes back in. He ends up wandering off.
What's our explanation for that? Because I feel like maybe in the past, even when the ship ran out of power, it's like gears, right? There's like a little energy supply left, so they could just push open the doors. But maybe the gears were so drained of power, they're just all locked up, and you had to.
Yeah, I mean the thing was just sucking all the power of everything.
All the power, yeah. Something we don't know what.
So he wanders off.
Also, we kind of Sarah Jane Smith. She paints the TARDIS in she paints the humanity of the TARDIS kind of. She refers to it kind of like a living entity, a living entity. She goes,
He does.
The Doctor in this one, he seemed to refer to it very mechanically. Sarah Jane Smith says it's like the TARDIS is dying, and he says, must be the fog jamming up the circuitry.
Well, he does say that the TARDIS is a living thing, ever renewing itself. In fact, in some ways, it's like the city.
Have we got to that yet?
Yeah, the Doctor said that in there.
Okay.
We haven't talked about
in this series?
Yeah, he said, the Doctor literally says that. He says it's a living thing, always renewing itself and renewing its energy. And that's...
like a Time Lord.
Right, and that comes into play much more later.
How much more later?
Well, pretty much all the time, actually.
That much later?
Well, no. We're on the third Doctor, right there, Pertwee. But it's mentioned again in Tom Baker and Davis. I mean, it's mentioned throughout many of the Doctors. So, the Doctor wanders off. He's looking for the source of the power drain. He gets jumped by a couple of... I hate to call them savages, but sand people. They look like sand people.
Exilons, as we find out later that they're called.
Exilons, right. They capture him. He manages to break free.
There's blood. We don't know where the blood came from.
I think the blood was from him getting hit. Sarah Jane gets some decent clothes on. Runs out.
Jumpsuit.
Yeah, jumpsuit. Finds the oil lantern that the Doctor dropped while he was getting captured. She finds blood on it, drops the oil lantern. Like, the worst thing you can do is destroy that oil lantern. Then she runs back to the TARDIS, but she's followed by a couple of them.
One is already in the TARDIS.
Right.
And then there's
they
two
left the doors open.
It's really hard to... Well, there's not a way to close it behind you. You have to close it inside because of the crank.
That we know of.
Yeah, there may be a crankshaft outside, but she didn't know about it.
So, one gets into the ship. It comes upon her. It's going to get her. She literally beats it into submission with the crank.
Could have been dead. She could have killed it for all we know.
Let's see. Then she starts cranking open the door again. It goes for her leg. She beats it again. And then she manages to run out of the ship, run away. There's 2 or 3 of them following her. And she eventually finds a city, a glowing city on the hill. And she approaches it, which is a bad move.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I would have done. That's what anyone would have done.
Yeah, turns out the city is the city...
They worship it. It's like a holy place.
The Exilons worship it.
So they don't like you going near the city.
Right, it's death if you do. So in the meantime, the Doctor's gotten away, and he has bumped...
chopped some people.
Yeah, he bumps into some people from the Space Marine Corps.
Something like that.
Yeah, and of course British. And there's 4 or 5 of them. There's a commander who's really ill. There's a captain. There's Galloway, the arms officer.
Someone went missing. We never found Jack.
Oh yeah, he dies even before the opening credits. Children's show.
Stewart was the captain that was ill. Jill's the nurse.
No, the commander that was ill. There's the commander, then the captain.
The captain was Richard.
Jewel is the geologist.
Peter. Yeah.
Galloway is the weapons officer. And then there's Phil.
Peter.
He's like kind of like the low man on the totem pole.
Yeah, Galloway, Peter, Jack died. Richard was the leader. Stewart's the sick captain, and Jill the geologist. So
the doctor bumps into them. They initially attack him, thinking he's one of the Sandmen, but he's not.
Well, Galloway does, because he's real gung-ho.
Yeah. Galloway's got a screw or two loose, but he's pretty good, actually. Anyway, so the doctor asks them about their mission, and it turns out they need this mineral, beryllium? Perennium. Because there's some sort of plague happening in the outer colonies of Earth on the outer planets.
As always, when is there not a plague?
Lately, yeah. And they need this mineral, which is only in trace amounts on Earth, but which is big time on this planet.
It's like, you know how we have the periodic table, and every once in a while they'll add a new element to the periodic table because they literally force it into creation by like bombarding.
Yeah, but we've run out of those pretty much.
Yeah, that's kind of like perennium. It's so rare and in such trace amounts, it's literally priceless. But they need somehow they discover that that's the cure to the disease that they're facing.
But it's not a rare element. It's a mineral.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like sulfur or what.
Very trace amounts of perennium. Probably very deep. We haven't really gotten that far into Earth's crust yet, so.
Yeah.
In the future, assumably, they've gotten deeper and there's trace
amounts
of perennium.
We'll get into that during Matt Smith's era.
We have some exobites.
No.
Extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
What do they call
Smith's
that?
Era.
What's the name of subterranean?
Yeah. We get into some of that during Matt Smith's era.
We have already. There's been subterraneals on Earth, right?
Yes, you're talking about the Silurians.
Silurians.
And that happened here during Pertwee's during one of Pertwee's deals.
That's good. Did the Silurians come back?
Yes.
Is that one of the people in that group of 5?
Well,
the Lady Silurian?
The Paternoster gang.
Is there a Silurian?
Right. There's the Lady Silurian. Right. She's married to a human female. And there's a Sontaran.
Didn't we discover that Paternoster gang is like German for elevator or something? What does that mean?
The Paternoster is a type of elevator that doesn't go strictly up or down, but is on a conveyor loop.
Does it ever say why they're called the Paternoster gang?
They're called the Paternoster gang because they live on Paternoster Street in London during their deal. We've been over this like a couple of times.
I didn't remember the answer.
Okay, the Silurians do come back. We discover them first during our current Doctor, Pertwee. Yep. And they come back many more times, but the Paternoster gang does have a Silurian, and they're very, very explicitly coming back during the Matt Smith era. No, the big one. Yeah. 11th Doctor, who was the most recent Doctor when that poster was made. I really need to get some stickers of Capaldi.
Just Photoshop them in there.
Yeah, I really need to, or get a new poster. But my wife bought that for me.
I like this poster. Yes,
it's good, but there's a couple of Doctors missing. Anyway.
Oh, what happened to the? Oh, there's the poster boards.
Yeah, 3rd Doctor. Okay.
Is that on camera? Can I see that?
I think so, maybe. We used to have them here.
We bring them down here when we do the voting for the
So
or something.
Anyway.
I forgot why we brought them down.
Or
there's some sort of tradition.
We've been drinking. Yeah, forgive us. All right.
We do something with them.
All right. So the Doctor finds out that this group, what?
Go ahead.
Okay, that this group of humans are there to get this polonium or whatever.
Perennium. All of humanity and its Earth and its colonizations are dependent on this random group of like 5 people they sent out of space.
What happened was the plague hit, and this stuff would help them.
There's a satellite.
The satellite found out that there were
scanned.
huge amounts of it on this planet.
Yeah.
So they needed. So they
to save all of humanity, they sent like 5 people.
Yeah, it seems weird, but yeah, budgetary restrictions.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're there trying to find it. In the meantime,
This pen's a little smashed.
Pen. Sarah Jane ends up wandering near the city of light, and she gets captured by the Exelons, and they're going to sacrifice her for going near the city because they worship the city.
She did give her like innocent arsenic to inhale.
Something like that, yeah. Incense or pot or something. Alright. So, okay, wait, where does the first episode end?
Daleks. Fire, but their weapons malfunction.
Yeah, so...
the Earthlings, they took the doctor back to their camp, right? Is that where we're...
Yeah. But they're expecting a relief ship to come help them because they experienced the exact same draining of power that the doctor did. And so
since all of humanity is dependent on this mineral, of course they never do send a relief ship.
Well, yeah, but we sent them a signal and we're expecting a relief ship. So they're like, yay, the relief ship's here. And they go and they run and the relief ship lands in the next valley. They all abandon the sick commander.
They just totally...
leave him. It's so...
Even though they have a guard posted, they know that the Exelons are like roaming around.
Right.
Fighting.
This is not a good serial.
They just leave them there.
It's a weaker serial. They all run off. They go to the next valley. The ship comes down. They go, that's not a Space Marine Corps ship. And the gate opens on the ship and Daleks come out.
Alex.
And they're like, all the Earthlings will be exterminated. And they start firing. End of the first episode. So, turns out their weapons don't work for the exact same reason that their ship doesn't work, and that the TARDIS doesn't work, the Earthling ship doesn't work, the city's draining all the energy. So they're just shooting blanks.
It explains why they can't procreate.
Alright, so the doctor's like, well, you guys are screwed in not so many words. You can't really function, you can't threaten us, you can't order us about because your weapons don't work. So...
All they have are the toilet plungers.
Yeah. So he starts, and there's 4 Daleks. So...
that they know of.
Correct, that they know of. So the humans get together, and the captain, not the commander, the captain, decides to make a deal with the Daleks, because apparently the Daleks claim that they have the same problem as the humans with the virus.
Brilliant. It never explains. So they
talk, build a weapon.
Yeah, they're talking. They're like, well, let's make a truce. So then they're like, here's the proposed truce. And then they separate into the 2 groups to discuss among themselves.
And they're like 2 feet away.
Yeah, and the Daleks are very loud, and they're discussing. They only know there's 4 of us. Let's not let them know that there's more than 4 of us. Also, let's not let them know why we really need the Pertwee. It never really explains why they really want it.
No,
does it?
It does later. They implicate or imply that the reason they need it is to bend the other races to their knees. So we get the Pertwee. We can give you the cure if you obey us.
Okay.
And that's what's implied.
Which implies that the Daleks were probably the ones to engineer the virus in the first place.
They had the virus missile, remember, towards the end. So, Yeah, I think the Daleks are the ones who actually created the plague, and they were trying to bend the rest of the universe to their knees by sounds like China, doesn't it?
The Daleks...
By creating a plague and then giving you the antidote only if you do what they want you to do.
The Daleks, it doesn't sound like they have a whole lot of forethought, because they first show up, they're like, we don't need humans, execute the humans, but their weapons don't work, and they're like, we never rely on anyone else, but even though
they do,
they use like enslaved humans and
the Oberons. Yeah, I mean, it goes on and on.
And they're colonizing other worlds with other human life forms, and they're trying to negotiate with Perennium. So, oh well.
To be fair, this could be the Daleks from a different period of time than the other Daleks we've seen. So at that period of time, they might not think they need them. But yeah, it's incredibly short-sighted. This is written by Terry Nation, the guy who wrote the Daleks.
Yeah. This is a weird series.
And it's not that good, yeah.
Departure from the normal writing and pacing.
Yeah, Terry Nation's usually much, much better.
Yeah. Maybe he just needed to pay his rent that month.
Yeah, maybe.
A quick story.
Yeah, I mean, everyone should cash out every once in a while, you know? Alright, so... the Daleks enter into an agreement with the humans, but the Doctor says don't trust them. Don't trust them an inch. But they're going to work together to get the Perennium. So they head off looking to find the Perennium.
They go back to the human base.
Right, and there's what was it, a mining dome? They had a mining dome or something, they said.
I don't remember. I remember they took the Daleks back to their home base, discovered that it had been ransacked.
And that their commander was gone.
Right, so then they're going somewhere else.
I think it's the mining dome.
Right. But they're ambushed.
They're ambushed by all the Exelons, all the Sand People.
We have Richard that gets shot just in the back.
And because, the captain gets shot in the back. And because electronics don't work, laser beams don't work, our heroes are defending themselves with bows and arrows.
And daggers.
Yeah, and daggers.
And the Daleks have their toilet plungers.
Yeah, they're kind of screwed. But eventually, in episode 2, they get into air guns to pump action, bullet air guns. And they retrofit themselves with these things. Projectiles. So, the Doctor and...
I thought they'd rely on flamethrowers or gas weapons.
I know, the flamethrower makes sense. That's what much like the oil lantern, but they didn't.
Nope.
Then again,
projectiles.
This particular environment is so bereft of anything flammable. I can see them not going to flamethrowers. It's just rock and stone and quarry, mud and dirt. So the Doctor and the 4 Daleks, they all get ambushed, and all the people on the ship. And the captain dies, 1 Dalek dies. What's our death count at this point?
2 humans, a couple of Sand People, and 1 Dalek.
Okay.
The total for the serial is 4 humans, 3 Daleks, plus a spaceship of Daleks. And over a dozen or so Sand People.
Yeah, there's a fight where we don't know how many Sand People died. Just like a bunch of them. Are you including Galloway?
No, I don't think I am. That's 5 humans.
5 humans, yeah.
Basically the entire Space Corps.
Alright, so okay. Spoilers. So, if they're watching this, there's no spoilers. The whole thing is a spoiler. Alright. I like Galloway. In the beginning, he doesn't seem that great. Well, he seems okay, then he doesn't seem that great. And then he redeems himself. I like the redemption arc.
There's 2 sides of the good character arc, and it's the lawful good, even though the law is not what's humanitarian, but it's just or so, and then you have like the individual good, like the I don't know how to word it, but Galloway's are very much the ends justify the means and sacrifice a couple to save the many and kind of person.
Right. But he's accused of being a glory monger. But when it comes down to it, he does his duty.
That's what
he sacrifices himself.
Stewart calls him, glory seeker. He wants to bring back the Peridium to get the praise and.
But apparently that's not his main objective.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so what are you drinking tonight?
Oh, what are we drinking tonight? I'm drinking Red's Hard Apple Ale.
Yeah, Magma Flame, which you just saw me pour. Thank you.
Because life's too short for bad tasting alcohol.
That's it.
I
exactly.
shook it up a little bit this week. I got Reds instead of Twisted Tea.
Well, it's kind of a last minute thing because of my friend in the escape room.
You just drew on your pants.
Yeah. I need to replace my pants. These khakis are digging and dying.
Mine too. I have holes in my pants here.
Yeah.
That's from my cell phone in my pocket.
You have that, and I have these, and it's getting bad. But I mean, I got these for $6 at Walmart. I got 6 pairs of them because they were so cheap.
Nice. Yeah.
But I need to get some more pants.
Podcast is business casual.
Yeah, the podcast is as casual as we want it because nobody watches it.
I'm gonna show up in shorts.
Okay, so we have 26 subscribers. Thank you, all of you subscribers. 26 of you, and most of our episodes get 5 views. 5. I haven't even watched the last 4 episodes. I need to catch up.
I'm catching up to.
I do. It's pretty sad when we have 0 views on any episode for a while. But we're not doing this for ratings. We're not doing this for money. We're obviously not doing this for fame. We're doing this because it's a hobby, and we want to, and we enjoy Doctor Who, and we enjoy drinking. So there you go.
So where are we? Oh, they're being ambushed by the.
Right, they're being ambushed by the different sides of the Exelons. They get captured.
Dalek makes a break for it and reports back to the Dalek mothership.
Right, and the one Dalek charges into the bag. The
Totally
Exelons
loses his mind.
Yeah, loses his cool, gets overblown, and all the Exelon stuntmen run away before it blows up, so they don't get hit by it. Yeah, it's fairly obvious, but yeah. Okay, so. Wait. What are you doing?
I'll be right there.
You go in the restroom? Okay. Man, okay. Okay. So, they end up getting captured. The Doctor and the 3 people from the Space Marine Corps. The commander was captured by them, the Daleks, and he tells them to surrender because the Daleks throw them to the ground in front of them. So they surrender. They get taken back to this Exelon underground because the Exelons capture them at this point. And okay. And Sarah Jane goes, well, wait a minute. I mean, they literally show up in this underground lair, this underground temple, as Sarah Jane is about to be sacrificed to appease the city god thing. And the Doctor goes all Venusian kung fu on them, chop, 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 and he attacks into them, and he takes out about 7 or 8 of them, but eventually the numbers overwhelm him, and they subdue him. Then they take everybody, the 3 remaining Daleks, because 1 died, the Doctor, Sarah Jane, who's about to be sacrificed, they take her, and the 3 Space Marine Corps people, and they put them all in a jail cage. And, well, 4 Space Marine Corps people, 3 Space Marine Corps and the 1 civilian female geologist. And they're going, well, we're the least popular people on the planet. And the doctor and Sarah Jane are like, well, the doctor's like, we're probably going to get sacrificed. What they did to you was probably just a postponement. We're probably going to be sacrificed. I with you now. And the Daleks at this point decide that they want to make their own peace with the Exelons, and they go out to talk to the Exelons. In the meantime, other Daleks, like I said, on the spaceship, have come up with a way to not do laser beams, but to do air bullets. And they managed to do the air bullets, air pump bullets, and they kill some Exelons. So the Doctor and Sarah Jane Smith are about to be executed, sacrificed to be the city god. And right when they're about to be, the other Daleks, the ones with the weapons that actually work, come in and invade and slaughter the Exelons. This is where our Exelon death count really goes haywire, because there were a couple dozen there. We see at least half a dozen killed, but we don't know the exact number. It's really, really murky. So a bunch of Exelons die. One human dies because the commander says, Galloway, you're not fit to command. You want glory too much. I'm leaving it to Peter. And then he passes away. And Galloway goes, even though he heard, sorry, I couldn't hear you. Come in. Alright. Come in. Alright. So Galloway says, I didn't hear you, even though he definitely heard the commander. The commander died.
I didn't hear you.
A crap ton of Exelons died. And the Doctor and Sir Jane Smith.
You're not even to the end of...
I'm getting there. In the ensuing chaos, managed to get away from everything, and they get out the back caves. Back caves, not bat caves. So they get out into the caves.
So many sand people die.
Yeah, Exelons, right. I was telling you about that. We don't know exactly how many.
Slaughtered.
Maybe 20, at least 6, but we don't know exactly how many. So the Daleks took over the area. The Doctor and Sir Jane Smith escape, but to an area where they're expected to die. So they're wandering around this labyrinthine cave. And
Labyrinthian?
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 No, labyrinthine. This maze of a cave. And the Doctor eventually goes, stupidly, unlike the Doctor, hey, Sarah Jane, you wait here. I'll go down the cave.
Before that, I feel like we get an insight into the Doctor's character again. Remember last serial, we discussed how they show up on Earth, but it's like eerily quiet because of the dinosaurs, right? And,
right. Invasion of the dinosaurs.
And at first I said that Sarah Jane Smith's concerned because of the lack of people and the quiet, and the Doctor keeps explaining it away. And I said how that feels like he's kind of protecting Sarah Jane Smith because she's frightened, and he's, she hears a crash and he goes, oh, it's,
right.
Parks and Recreational Center cutting down trees. Here again, we get another insight when they're in the cave, and they're discussing, well, we're part of this sacrificial ceremony. They're knocking us out with incense, and they're going to toss us down this holy wind. well, that would have killed us, so what are they sacrificing us to? How do they expect to finish the sacrifice? So the logical conclusion is, well, there's something down here that's going to eat us.
Right.
So,
and she begs him to explain himself, and he does, and then afterwards she goes, please, never explain yourself again, because you couldn't handle the truth.
So he says, well, obviously there's a creature down here that's going to eat us or something. She's like, why don't you... Who are you kidding? Why don't you keep that to yourself?
Mostly myself.
You're right. Now, why don't you keep that to yourself? And then later on, you hear like the growling of the creature, and you're like, what is that? And she
subterranean wind.
Yeah, subterranean wind. And she says, who are you kidding? He says, myself mostly, chiefly. Yeah. Which gives us another insight into the Doctor's own denial of the situation when he shows up on the wrong world, or he doesn't know how to navigate the TARDIS, or he explains away situations like, well, this isn't Earth, or we didn't land in the right time period. And he's like, oh, we're just slightly off. And he kind of explains away the situation. And it's like, who are you kidding? Myself. Yeah, he's in denial. He doesn't want to accept, the situation sometimes. He comes across very logically, like, well, obviously there's not a monster, or I obviously haven't landed in the wrong time period or the wrong location. He's kidding himself because, I don't know, maybe he's being hopeful, or he doesn't want to accept the situation at face value, or he's protecting his companions. It's just that
one. I think in many cases he's protecting his companions, and he's trying to assuage his companions.
We see that a lot with Troughton, and then it's 50-50 with Pertwee, but with Hartnell, he's a much more gruff character. So it seems
Hartnell's like, screw you.
Yeah, he's more prideful. He's like, of course I know how to navigate the TARDIS, and of course I landed in the right,
To be fair.
So we have one side and the other side, and then Pertwee's kind of a mix between the two, where he's, he's kind of prideful, but he's also kind of saying it for the sake of his companions. To be fair,
Pertwee has not had full control of his TARDIS for most of his run. He didn't have the TARDIS for a long time because the Time Lords took it away.
Right.
He was stuck on Earth with the unit, and he's only recently regained control of it.
Right, yeah. I think Pertwee kind of represents a gruff and physical, but also fun-loving and joking side. He's kind of a good compromise between Hartnell and Troughton, because those are two different extremes. Hartnell being very gruff and kind of loving and protective, and then Troughton being very clowny and fun-loving, yeah. And then Pertwee's like a mix between the two.
The gentleman's doctor.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway,
build off the label.
Cool.
It's in one piece.
Cool.
You know what that means?
No.
Oh, okay.
We're getting late tonight? Why?
No.
That would be good. You should.
I shudder to think by whom.
Okay, granted. Alright,
Continue. So we're in the subterranean cave.
Okay, so the subterranean cave.
Split up the party.
The Doctor goes down one corridor. He tells Sergei and Smith to wait. Some weird...
Again,
there's some weird creature that comes out and approaches Sergei Smith. He looks like I swear, like 4'10", little guy. Kind of
lack of sunlight stuff to his
right, mummy-esque thing. But he approaches her. She screams, and it gets the Doctor, and the Doctor faces us like this weird tentacle with an eye thing, but it's mechanical.
Very much War of the Worlds kind of
tentacle. Right. Well, the War of the Worlds with what's his name? Tom Cruise. Not the original War of the Worlds, but the one with Tom Cruise.
The original one had the tentacle eyes too, didn't they?
Kind of, but this creature looks very much like the MST-3K robot.
No idea what that is.
Okay. Mystery Science Theater 3000 robot. The modern version.
Is that on the movie list?
No, it's...
I have Science Theater written on the movie list.
Okay. MST3K are people who watch bad movies and make fun of them.
Oh, it's a YouTube channel.
Yes and no, but yeah.
MS32K.
MST3K.
MST3K.
Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Okay.
So there's one of the robots, the female robot looks very much like the thing that attacked the Doctor.
Okay.
So the thing attacks the Doctor and episode 2 ends. Then we get to episode 3 and the Daleks decide to send a couple of Daleks down the caves after the Doctor just in case he survives.
Alright, meanwhile we have the Space Marine Corps striking a deal. Now that it's under the new leadership of Galloway, right, he strikes a deal with the Daleks, which have very heavy terms, including bringing back the Doctor and the companions dead or alive, using the Sand People as slave workers for the Perennium, and a few other unmentionable clauses. That,
there's not much good here for the Sand People.
Yeah. Jill and Peter aren't happy about it. Yeah. But Galloway accepts the terms anyway, because he's a realist, you know? It's like, what other situation did he have? And still the ends justify
and
the means.
We don't know if he's a glory seeker at this point. We don't know if he's doing it altruistically.
Yeah, I feel like they didn't really paint his character like that. When Stewart is dying, he's on his deathbed, and he puts Peter in charge instead of Galloway, because he says Galloway's a glory seeker. They really haven't set up Galloway's character, so it's kind of like a left turn. You go, really? What? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I love Galloway's voice.
He's a really good.
His voice is so good.
Gravitas.
Yeah, it's a deep, gravelly voice. So good.
I think Heather has a crush.
Okay. Anyway, so
how goes
Waldheim.
What do you love?
I love gravelly voices. I love Eartha Kitt's
Who does
voice.
this? Like Liam Hemsworth? Ooh.
Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson's a good one.
No, Eartha Kitt. I love Eartha Kitt's voice. I love a deep, gravelly voice. I don't know why, but it just appeals to me.
How goes Valheim?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It's not
working on
it. Shuts down my
AMD.
computer because I have an AMD chip.
It's so strange to me. I also run AMD. I like AMD because of all the cores.
So are you able to run Valheim?
I haven't downloaded it yet.
Okay. I will
Should I?
I don't know.
Should I play with you guys?
I'm gonna get on. You're not playing with me. I can't get to run, but I'll probably get on Valheim. Minecraft.
We can take a look at it after the podcast.
Well, there's something you can do to make it run on something else that will allow it to run, but I don't have the expertise, you know. But
we'll do a compatibility test.
I might get on Minecraft tonight.
We'll play tonight. We'll check out the temple they built you outside your house.
Can't believe they built me a temple. That's
Giant
so weird.
emerald pyramid with a.
I can't believe that. That's so weird.
It gives you a nice speed boost. Also.
Mhm.
Do you like retro games like 16-bit graphics, 8-bit graphics?
Like what?
Like Undertale.
Don't know.
That might be one you like. Or you're more into multiplayer games.
I like multiplayer.
Okay.
Undertale like
is,
sex. The more people, the better.
Undertale's a single-player game. That's why you don't like Skyrim, because it's like single-player World of Warcraft.
Yeah. Games are like sex. The more people, the better. Solo is not as good.
Not as good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright,
Episode 3.
I thought we were hardly well into episode 3. Okay.
The Doctor's attacked by the tentacle. The Daleks show up in the tunnel.
Yeah, so the Daleks show up and the tentacle, which didn't like the Doctor and tried to kill him, but he escaped, really doesn't like the Daleks. And the tentacle hits one of the Daleks over and over and over again until it kills it. The other Dalek went down a different shaft. and survives. But the Doctor's standing there going, "Good show, good hit." What was the word? No, there's a word I haven't heard much lately.
Palpable.
Palpable
hit.
Palpable hit. Yes, that's exactly it.
Attention is
Palpable hit. And the Dalek's getting hit. Dalek explodes. The Doctor eventually gets away. And he gets back to Sarah Jane after they all hid from the Daleks. Okay. So then they get out, and the second Dalek chases them. They manage to slip into a small crevice, which allows them to go into the cave.
Do we know why the Dalek just starts shooting up the cave wall for some reason?
Well, it wanted to hit them, but it couldn't.
He's just shooting the cave.
So yeah, so they go down this small crevice. The Dalek can't get there. It shoots at them, and it's the cave wall, not them. Thank goodness. They get away, and then what's the guy's name?
Belial. B-E-L-L-A-L. Belial.
Right. Belial says, "Look, my people who don't agree with the worship of the city, and so the people who worship the city want to kill us, the other Exxons. We are looking out and we're inspecting what's going on, and we'll take you to safety." So his people and they're not cloaked in the Sand People Jawa
Which
thing.
means they must be cold on the surface.
Yeah, I don't know, I guess. But now the Daleks have the Space Marine Corps and the Exxons digging up this stuff. And eventually one of the tentacles of the city comes out and in a lake kills a couple of the Exxons.
What do they call it? Panning for gold?
Yeah.
Panning for perineum. But then the root monster comes out of the lake that they're mining in.
And kills one of the Epsilons.
And then the Dalek shoots at it, and then the Dalek
kills the Dalek, yeah.
Second Dalek death. Third
right.
Dalek death.
So eventually they retreat, they go around the site. The Doctor grabs Belial.
Belial.
Bellular.
B-E-L-L-A-L. Belial.
Belial. And so let's go to the city. Let's test this. At the same time, Sarah Jane wants to go with them, but the Doctor tells Sarah Jane she needs to go and tell the Earthlings that they need to load all the Perenium onto their ship and be ready to go at any time, which Sarah Jane does. She goes and tells the Jill, the young geologist, female.
She's attractive.
Yeah, she is.
I wrote down here, one of my notes is, Sarah is a cutie, but Jill is a hottie.
Wow, yeah, you did write that down. Okay.
I had a lack of notes, so I started...
Okay, so really, this was good. This is a 4-episode serial that was paced really well.
Paced, yeah.
It could have been longer, but I'm glad it wasn't. It was really well paced.
Glad it wasn't longer.
Yeah. So Sarah Jane tells Jill, get everything ready, load all the Perenium onto the ship, place the bags of sand, and they get ready to leave. So the Doctor and Belial, this little short guy, they go to the city, and they're followed by a couple of Daleks. Mm-hmm. The Doctor manages to figure out how to get into the city.
They have a logic puzzle to get into the front gate.
And you have to press the one that doesn't belong. They get in. There's a bunch of skeletons.
touch-sensitive controls, which the doctor called ingenious, which I thought was funny because touch-sensitive screens are very prevalent in our society, which hearing our society referred to as ingenious technology is
right, but we're looking at
humorous.
1973, you know. 1974.
So you know that smartphone with the touchscreen, you're using genius design.
True. So there's a long series of intelligence tests the doctor and Bilal have to get through. And they do. There's one with the hopscotch thing where they have to stand on the white squares.
The first one, once they get through the front door, is a maze. Is a maze, right? And you saw a couple of skeletons starved to death who got
3 or 4
the front door but couldn't figure out the maze.
Like, so how the hell?
So, of course, the doctor and Bilal figure out the maze, and then the Daleks are hot on their trail. Like the Daleks.
How do they do the maze? Do you know?
It doesn't show.
Yeah, exactly.
The front door, they do a computer scan. They're like, well, one of these isn't like the other, and they figure out the front door, and then they do the maze off screen because it doesn't show. But the one after that is they're walking down this hallway, and the doctor says, "Wait up, hop, stop. There's a pattern on the floor," and that's the end of episode 3.
Then we go to episode 4.
Turns out it's another puzzle, hopscotch.
Right, they get across the pad on the floor by.
But I don't know how you're supposed to figure that out without
the red spaces.
Because he uses the sonic screwdriver, so he's cheating. He's cheating.
Nah, it's not cheating. All right, so seriously, this is really not a good cereal. Really not a good cereal. Cherry Nation wrote
just because I
love Cherry Nation.
This is my favorite cereal. I'm gonna vote for it.
Really? This is your favorite cereal. You are so screwed with me.
Just to be difficult, I'm gonna vote this as my favorite cereal.
Nah.
I'm gonna vote for it.
Okay, so they get to the hopscotch thing.
It has the Daleks. This is the worst Dalek cereal ever.
Thus far, yeah. So they get the hopscotch
thing. Are a ringer. They've run so many favorite cereals of the season. Mm-hmm. They've won favorites out of the entire Doctor. Yeah. But this one I don't think is going to win any awards from us. Unless I vote for it just to get
so the Doctor and Bilal, they get through, and eventually they manage to get through to the control room.
Right, the Daleks are still hot on their tails. They walk right over the hopscotch patch.
Well, yeah,
because
they get shot by 7,000 volts, but doesn't.
It's designed to destroy organic materials.
Right.
The Daleks are fine in their casing.
Oh yeah, at some point,
inductive.
it's explained that even though all electrical stuff goes down,
how is the Daleks casing still working?
Psychokinetic,
because they're cyborgs with half organic, half mechanical.
So the organics keeping them moving.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah,
they're psychics. They have what do you call that when you can levitate stuff with your mind?
Telekinetic.
They have telekinesis apparently.
No, not exactly. No.
Psychokinetic energy.
So the Doctor and Bilal get to the control room, and then
there's this. So they've hinted at this Exelon who's sitting in front of this monitor, who's watching them go through the maze and through the logic puzzles and proving themselves worthy to get into the control room. But once they get into the control room, it lets in a draft of air. Apparently it's airtight, a vacuum chamber.
Right.
They open the door, and that figure, that Exelon we saw watching the monitor, just crumbles into dust. And Bilal's like, what happened? It's like, well, we must have let in a draft, and it crumbled this, dust that has been decomposing over so many thousands of years. So they're in there in the main computer room of the. Did you explain the city? How it's a smart city?
Yeah, mostly.
It's a technologically advanced city, which kind of turned on the Exelons because it was like Terminator. What do they call it? Skynet. The cities decided it no longer needed the Exelons, so it's like. If you ever saw that 90s movie Smart House, it's a lot like that, where you put so many smart home features in your house, and the house becomes self-aware, and it's like, what do I need these people invading my territory for? And it just kicks you out, like HAL 9000, and he just kicks them out of the space station, and they're like, let us in, Hal. Open the bay door, Hal. I can't let you do that. What is that, Hal? I think you know. So that's the situation we're in. Where the city, the Exelon's built, and they put all this technology into, became self-aware and self-sufficient, and turned on the Exelons. So that's the problem. Is that it's this giant pyramid city, and it has structural integrity where it has these self-defense roots that we talked about earlier that have been killing Daleks and people. And it also is structurally stable from the tip of the pyramid because it's drawing energy from the atmosphere, which we discover that's why the TARDIS was drained from power, and all electronics is drained from power because of this beacon on the pyramid. That's why the Dalek ship is out of power and their weapons don't work. It's why the Space Corps Earth people lost their power. So now they're in the inner workings of this main brain computer of the city, and the doctor's pulling out these chipboards, and he's reprogramming them to give this computer mind kind of a nervous breakdown, so the city will just kind of crumble in on itself. But the city, having its its own self-defense system, starts constructing these metallic antibodies to defend its brain. So you see these antibodies forming, and then the doctor says, "Well, I'll keep watch. I'm reprogramming. I'm reversing the polarity on this chipboard."
He never says that.
He never said it.
Never says that.
But that's basically what he does.
But he never says that.
That's what he does. We all knew he was thinking it. They say that, every other episode,
So-
they reverse the polarity.
No. So the city ends up self-destructing, and the doctor and Bilal manage to get out of there. And
the Daleks that were on their tail showed up, and that's how they escaped the antibodies, because the Daleks,
the
the
Daleks are
antibodies
finding the
started fighting.
antibodies. Yeah. So, so Doctor and Bilal manage to get out of there.
They get out of the
The
city.
Daleks. Oh man.
Meantime, Sarah Jane Smith met up with Jill.
Yeah, explain that.
Hi.
And they
switch the sacks of the perineum. They fill a couple of perineum sacks with sand, and then they take the actual perineum back to the Earth Space Corps ship.
Right.
And they leave the Daleks perineum pile with just bags of sand, which they have loaded onto the Dalek ship.
And Galloway and
Right. So they're Peter and Galloway. We have the Doctor and Bilal assaulting the inside of the city, the computer, having it self-destruct on itself. The Daleks found their own solution. They told Galloway and Peter to grab a couple of explosives and put it on the beacon tower that's draining all the energy. That's the Dalek solution.
And they blew it up.
They do. They give him 2 explosives. Peter puts one in the tower, and he's like, "Galloway, hand me the other explosive." And he's like, "You only need one.
No,
keep
one's
this
enough.
one. I'm gonna keep this one."
Galloway keeps the one. The tower blows up.
Inconspicuously hides it under his jacket.
Very conspicuously hides it under his jacket. And then the tower explodes. Everybody gets the power back.
While the city's kind of having its meltdown.
Like seriously, like styrofoam meltdown.
It's
like with heat.
They drizzled some gasoline on the styrofoam, and you just watch it melting.
Yeah. So the Daleks attempt to take off, and Galloway, to his credit and his redemption, is hiding on the ship with the other explosive device. He sets it off, and they explode, and that's the end of the Daleks.
Because
thank you, Galloway.
Yeah, he saved them because the Daleks were going to launch their biological
virus on the planet. Plague missile.
So Galloway sacrifices himself to set off the explosive to save the other people so they can make it back to Earth.
He was so questionable, and then he redeems himself in the end. I love it. Yeah?
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He was a good guy. Okay, do you have any questions about this serial? Okay. And at the end, the doctor says, well, he did his duty, you must do yours to Peter and Jill.
The only two left.
Back and the only two left to go take all this stuff back to mankind and to heal us.
Yeah. And then the Doctor and Sarah Jane Smith take off in the TARDIS.
No, don't. The episode ends before they even
we
do
assume.
That. Yeah. We assume.
Yeah, maybe not. So this episode, the serial really reminded me of the first Dalek serial, the second Hartnell serial, where they show up on the planet and you see the petrified lizard, right?
Right, and that was a petrified thing. Yeah.
Did it explain why the lizard was petrified? Because the atomic warfare, right?
Kind of. It implied.
Yeah, because the Daleks, they run off of atomic energy for a lot of their...
Static energy for a lot of it.
Yeah, static for the units, but atomic for like their society or something and their weapons. So they need... the atomic fallout is what devolved them into the Daleks we know today, the organic things that live inside the casing. Or so we're led to believe. That's how they explained it in that serial.
Next season.
I don't know if they explain that differently later on, but
you'll see it next season.
We don't know why things are petrified because they land in that petrified forest with the petrified lizard, and that made me think of that because this is a Dalek episode. So we landed on this planet, and you see this petrified figure, which is like this just a stone figure, and Sarah Jane Smith screams at it when she gets off the TARDIS. He's like, "Oh, it's just a rock," and it's like, "Well, it's more than that. It looks like a person." He goes, "Well, it's a petrified person." Reminded me of Skaro. I thought they might have landed back on Skaro because of Daleks. And even the Exelon city looks like the Skaro city, the Dalek city, kind of. Yeah. So I don't know. I didn't understand this petrified figure or why it was petrified or why things on Skaro is petrified. Maybe that's explained later with the dawn of the Daleks or whatever. Genesis of the Daleks.
Genesis of the Daleks. Yeah.
Any thoughts and insight?
No.
Okay. We'll find out. No. I don't know if that's ever explained later.
No insights on that.
Okay.
We're not on Scar. We are not on Scar.
We don't know why things are petrified.
Well,
on either planet. It explained in the episode. I wrote down here, why does the Daleks' weapons not work, but their metal shells, their suits still work, and that's because of the psychokinetic
energy.
Yeah. So do we talk about how
all the energy we have?
The Daleks are psychics.
Yeah. No, they're not psychics.
Somehow they figured out how to harness the energy of their brains as biological creatures into a mechanical mechanism.
Correct. And we have energy as human beings. And we exhibit that energy and it goes off of us, and that's fine, We also talked about the insight into the Doctor. We talked about a little bit earlier how he says, well, who are you kidding? Myself chiefly, when he's in kind of denial of the situation. We have the two sides of it. One, he's kind of prideful, kind of in denial, but also he's protecting his companions, and right.
Yeah. So we see the two extremes and kind of a middle ground. Next question. Oh, we talked about the Smart City and HAL 9000 Smart House. What was the show you likened it to? H3K something.
MST3K.
Yeah, and the
Mystery Science Theater 3000. That was the
3000.
Right.
The Terminator.
Yeah, but Mystery Science Theater 3000 was like the thing that came out of the Doctor. It's the female robot in MST3K.
The root monsters with the
of the city. It's like that. Okay, MST3K came along much later, but the female robot, it is much like those root monsters.
Is that...
Okay. You and I, watching these shows, commenting on them, is very much like MST3K.
That's where they have the movie playing, and then you just see like the shadowed silhouettes of the robot, and they're commenting on it.
Exactly.
I know what
that's
you're talking
MST3K.
about. Okay. That's old. That's like a 90s thing. Isn't it? I remember that.
The 90s things are old. Okay.
I remember seeing that growing up. It was very popular.
Okay.
That is the 90s.
You make me feel so old.
That was like 30 years ago.
Help me! Help me! Oh my gosh.
So we see the sonic screwdriver. Okay, next question. Moving on. Next question. We see. We see.
Oh my gosh.
We see. Moving on. Next question. We see the sonic screwdriver used in a situation we've never seen the sonic screwdriver used before again. Of course, we see it, kind of a plot device.
It scans.
Fills in. Yeah, so this is what... the last logic puzzle to get into the computer's brain room, they're just in this empty room. There are no puzzles. They're just being observed. And then their psyche is attacked by the machine. And the doctor, he's using his, he's fighting against the psychokinetic energies. He goes, you're just an illusion. You're not real.
Right, but sonic screwdrivers use the trap before that.
Right, yeah, we saw that. It scans for like energy signatures, so he knows which tile to step on. Yeah. But later we see Belial, he succumbs to the mind control. So he turns on the doctor and he points the pellet gun that they salvaged off the Dalek at him. Right. Because Belial this whole time he's running around with a pellet gun.
He's running around with it like a scepter.
Yeah, he points it at the doctor, and the doctor, his first response is to pull out the sonic screwdriver, and he presses a button and emits a noise. And he's talking to Belial. He's like, "It's not real. We're friends. Remember, don't do this." He's
trying to disrupt the mind control.
Yeah, it's like emitting a sonic sound wave to kind of combat the to offset the mind control that Belial's experiencing. But we haven't really seen the sonic screwdriver do something like that. But there's a lot of different things you can do with sonic waves, apparently.
True. It does much more later on.
Cool.
And then it disappears for a while, and then it does much more later on again.
Yeah. I just never saw the sonic screwdriver do something like that. But we've seen Oh no! That was Troughton's flute that he played to do the sound log. Yeah. He's matching the pitches of the sound log, so it emits a sonic sound.
Troughton loved the recorder.
Yeah, he lost his recorder with
they found
Omega.
In the Three Doctors.
Does he ever get a new one? When he comes back, maybe.
Maybe not.
Next question. Sarah's a cutie, but Jill is a hottie. Last question. The very serial is called Death to the Daleks. Do you have any insight on the naming scheme of the Dalek serials? Because we have Power of the Daleks, Invasion of the Daleks. What does Death to the Daleks even mean? Why do they call the serial Death to the Daleks? Even though there's relatively few Daleks, one ship blows up. How do you think they come up with the names of the Dalek episodes? Why'd they call it Death to the Daleks?
I have no idea.
They might have just named it I Hate the Daleks or something.
Right, but I have no idea. There's no reason why.
Just a few adjectives and then the Daleks.
The Daleks had to be the title, and I guess Death to the Daleks sounded good.
Power of the Daleks, Invasion of the Daleks Master Plan, Death to the Daleks.
Exactly.
I felt like the title of the serial didn't really relate to the serial very much because I didn't understand the naming scheme, but...
Well, they did blow up the Daleks.
They did blow them up, yeah.
They really did. Yay, Galloway for coming through in the end. Yay.
That's my last question. Anything else you wanted to add to the serial at large?
Well, we got season 9.
Season 9.
Yay. Okay. We have 5 serials. Serials. Alright. Day of the Daleks. Wait, why are we seeing 9?
Oops.
Why? Alright. Curse of Peladon, Sea Devils, the Mutants, the Time Monster. Okay.
These are good ones. I like Day of the I like Curse of Peladon, the Sea Devils, the Mutants, the Time Monster was a good one. That kind of you said this one was kind of reminiscent of the Weeping Angels, the Time Monster, because he feasts on.
In some ways,
the timeline or something.
I really like Curse of the Peladon.
I also really like Curse of the Peladon. So let's talk about each individual one. Does anything specific stand out of these serials? Like what's your...
Okay, the least of these to me would be the Mutants.
Yeah, I'd say the Mutants and then maybe the Sea Devils. These two are kind of weaker than the other three. What did you think about the Sea Devils? We can agree that the Mutants.
Okay, get rid of the Mutants. I really like the Sea Devils.
You did like the Sea Devils.
I do like the Sea Devils.
What did you like about the Sea Devils?
Well, I mean, they're like Silurians, but from the sea, you know.
Yeah, that's true. It was interesting. A lot of intrigue, a lot of whodunit. The Time Monster, in my opinion, was also pretty good. It was a long serial. It kind of dragged. It was oddly paced at some points, but it had a lot of interesting things. What did you think about the Day of the Daleks? Not their strongest, not their worst.
No, I could live with... No, get rid of that one.
We're seeing a kind of a decline in the Daleks, because the Daleks were a favorite. They won several season favorites.
Yeah, they did.
They're being overused. They're just kind of thrown in there.
Get rid of the Daleks.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I think Day of the Daleks it's a weaker one, a weaker Dalek serial. That's the one where we see the Ogrons and the Master. And...
No, it's later, actually.
Oh, which one? Remind me which one Day of the Daleks is. I don't even remember, I guess.
No, I don't even remember. But no, season 10 is when they get with the Ogrons.
You're right. So apparently that one's not memorable at all, because we don't even know what happened.
Yeah.
So Curse of the Peladon was really cool. The Curse of the Peladon really felt like a Dalek episode, because it was like this cool arc, this mystery. We had several different races, this council. No Daleks, but it felt like one of those really cool overarching storylines. Yeah,
you had the ice monsters.
Yeah,
being good guys.
The Ice Warriors. That was very cool. Yeah, we saw the good side of the Ice Warriors, which was something you never saw before. Again, Sea Devils was really cool because of all the military bases and stuff. Man, that's a good one, but yeah, I feel like that's the weakest of the three is the Time Monsters. I would agree with that.
Oh my god.
So let's talk about these two. What do you like so much about the Sea Devils specifically?
The Sea Devils are neat because they come in
an invasive species.
Right,
mind controlling.
And they, the Master's in there, and they come in from the sea. I mean, this is such a good serial, but the Curse of Peladon.
Yeah, I would agree that the Sea Devils was a really good serial. However, the downfall for me is the fact that it has a lot of the same tropes that we're just kind of getting tired at this point.
It's really good.
It's really good. It's really good. The Master keeps showing up. We're kind of tired at the Master. We see more like mind control stuff. It's like, man,
the Curse of Peladon.
I feel like out of the two.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So the Curse of Peladon has several undermining great themes, and Joe Grant steps up in this.
Shines.
She steps up on a princess, and she really shines. She is so good in this.
Earlier, we've seen her just kind of a klutz. She's the damsel in distress. She's supposed to be this escape artist, but she's kind of this kind of mid-ground of where she gets in trouble, then she gets out of trouble. But this is where she like really takes it.
Really shines.
She's like,
and we
also have some other cool characters.
And we have Trouton's son.
We have
playing
the Prince of Peladon.
Yeah. No.
All right. So we agree. Peladon is our favorite of season 9, nearly being out every other episode.
Sea Devils. Yeah,
that was a good one.
There you go.
This was very obviously the best episode, the best serial of this season.
Write it down.
I didn't get
All right. Thank you. And we have a winner for season 9.
Somewhere.
We'll do 10 and 11 as we're finishing
Next episode, yeah.
which is probably the next 2 episodes. And then
Yeah.
we'll do an overarching for Pertwee after that.
Pertwee. Oh yeah, we have to vote on our favorite Pertwee season.
Well, our
serial.
favorite Pertwee
That's gonna be
episode for the
hard.
winners. Ooh, it will be hard.
Curse.
Inferno.
That's a good one. Oh yeah.
There's so many good ones. We'll have to go with the 5 winners and go from there.
All right. So just to sum up, I don't have season 1, 2, and 3 on here.
Why not?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know
Different.
where
You
they're
need
at.
more tablets. I mean, seriously.
I'm gonna get like an actual tablet so I can just search by keywords and type things in. But season 4 winner, that was a Troughton, right? Season 4, because Hartnell was 1, 2, and 3.
Troughton.
Troughton, our favorite of season 4 is Power of the Daleks. Season 5 was The Enemy of the World. Season 6 was The War Games. Again, the Daleks. Right? The War Games.
No, the War Games was the Daleks.
They didn't have the Daleks in the War Games?
The War Games was the different eras of time.
I feel
all
like
about.
season 1, 2, and 3 were Dalek serials. And our favorite of Hartnell was a Dalek serial. And then Troughton, we have
Dalek, Cybermen.
Cybermen, because the Daleks were in season 3, right?
Okay, the very last serial of Hartnell was the first episode of the Cybermen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, our favorite overall Hartnell was a Dalek. The Daleks Master Plan, I think it was. Was our favorite Hartnell serial, maybe. So Troughton.
Well, our Daleks Invasion of Earth, where he had that
That was a
great,
good one too.
amazing,
The dialogue.
dialogue towards Susan.
I feel like that's like you voted for that one, and I voted for the Daleks Master Plan. It was like a
We need
toss-up.
to watch our episodes sober.
I have the notes somewhere. But starting with
Go in
Troughton.
your notes, yeah.
Starting with Troughton, we had season 4 was The Power of the Daleks, season 5 was Enemy of the World, and season 6 was The War Games, and we voted The War Games as our favorite overall Troughton serial.
Very slightly over.
Yeah,
The
narrow
Enemy of the
margins.
World.
Yeah,
He was so for it, and I was so for Enemy of the World, but
that was another.
I like
toss-up.
the War Games just barely under Enemy of the World, and he convinced
Very
me.
narrow.
So yeah.
I was
We
on
went
that.
the Enemy
Same
of the
boat.
War
Same boat.
Games.
The Enemy of the World was very good.
Yeah.
So then, starting with Pertwee, we have season 7, Inferno was our favorite, obviously.
Yes.
Season 8 was The Daemons.
Yes.
Also a good one.
Absolutely.
A lot
Love
of
the
fun.
Daemons.
A lot less dark than The Demons. So we had
I love the
more fun
Daemons.
watching The Demons. Yeah, less dark. More fun. And now season 9, Curse of Peladon.
Okay. So next week we'll do season
Season
10
10.
along with the penultimate episode for this Doctor.
Yeah.
The week after, maybe season
We're
11,
watching the
and then
Spiders.
we'll do the whole of Pertwee in one go.
Yeah, and then we're going to be on
Tom Baker,
Baker.
the scarf.
Scarf.
Yep.
Alright. Anything else you'd like to add, Harry?
No, we're good.
I think we're good.
Yay! See you next week.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us. Next week or week after.
Sing our outro theme. We have an outro theme right now.
We do. We're not singing it though.
Okay.